Good afternoon, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I want to talk to you about stage 3 in our evolution of consciousness in sexuality. So, today, I want to talk a little bit about this quotation in an expanded way. So, this quotation is by Theodore Roosevelt, and the quotation is keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. So, remember that what we just came from is the second stage of consciousness evolution in sexuality. And this was all about the stage of the ego, right? The birth of the ego, and then we're developing the ego through that stage. So as the ego develops, it becomes a bit more confident. It starts knowing what I like, and it starts knowing I know what you like. And it feels really good. This is a really fun time that I mentioned. And then this next stage is also a really fun time. They're all fun times. It's all a matter of where you're at. Now, the only reason for a transformative change, or I'll say the biggest reason, is a desire for something else, a less than satisfied place of what is. So, what is here and now. And when there's a desire for something else or more or different, then there is a transformation. Oftentimes we think of the analogy of the butterfly from the cocoon, right? So we went from caterpillar to butterfly, and that's a form of transformation. And this process of transformation happens for all of us at various times. And of course, you can know that from that caterpillar to the butterfly, we often talk about this, that there's a bit of a leap and there's a bit of unknown, and there's not such comfort in that stage. So, in a relationship, when people are thinking of this transformation, we now move from ego stage to the next stage, which is the stage of the achiever. So, the achiever has actually come to a place in the stage of ego development of I know what makes me feel good, and I know how to make another person feel good, and I want to feel better. So this is even more. I want just a little bit more. There's something more I'd like to do or experience or feel. And remember, I talked about senses being very important in sexuality. So, senses, touch, sight, smell, taste, hearing, everything is related to our ego development time. So, in that time, and it's again related in all of our stages, but that's one of the areas that we're thinking of. And suddenly people start thinking, well, I want a little more of this or a little bit more of that. And sometimes the partner is not on the same page or doesn't like the same things. And remember that that ego development was all about trying to be in that space, which I was encouraging to not feel better than or lesser than. But a lot of people do start feeling that I'm better than, I care more, I do more, I am paying attention to what they need, I'm asking them what they need, and I'm giving them what they need, and I'm not getting what I need. And so this creates a time for transformation. So sometimes in the best and healthiest situations, it will be, hey, why don't we try this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we go here? Why don't we, whatever, experience this, right? So this would be, again, if you remember back to the first video that I did in this series, was actually about the presence in sex, right? Presence in sex. And in that was the definition of sex, which included touch and words, right? So what happens is a lot of times words are spoken and they might not be heard. Sometimes the tone of words changes. So someone can be really kind and considerate the first time, first 10 times, first 100 times that they're saying something. And then the 101st time, they are not so kind and considerate. Now it's a little bit more frustrated. It's a little bit less pleasing. It's a little bit more forced. So, in that, it could be as simple as just making time for sex, or it could be there's just different experiences that people want to have. Now, when I say this, I want to make sure that what comes to my mind in this stage of going wrong, of the ego development stage, you can look at a movie like 9.5 Weeks, and I don't know if you've seen that movie, but I will say that it started off beautifully and then it ended up less than beautifully. So I will say that that's actually a good way to look at how, if someone is very much into ego and needing more and more stimulation to be stimulated sexually, it can lead to situations like this. And we know, or at least I know, and I'm sure you know of some stories of people do this in their sexual encounters, or they do this, and it's like, how come we don't do that? And you might ask your partner this, and they might think, because I don't like that. And what does that make a person feel like? Oh, but I really want to try that. So I think that would be really exciting. And again, this is a time for communication in partners. Do you care what your partner feels or how they feel or whether they like something or do not like something? Or are you the partner that are saying, no, I don't want to try anything new or different. I really like what we're doing. And that's a beautiful place too. But are you flexible? Are both sides flexible to meet each other as they're growing and learning and experiencing and enjoying? So, in this next stage, this is stage 3, we go beyond the ego and we go into achiever. So, in the achiever mode, there is this feeling of recognition of, I can do this. You know what? Even if they don't set up the candles, I'm going to set up the candles, and that's great. And if they don't put on my favorite music, I can put on my favorite music. And then over time, it might become a space of, why do I always have to do this? And a lot of couples get into this space of, how come I have to do everything? Now, this will translate into a lot of areas of life too. So, whatever a couple is noticing and appreciating about each other in the best of times can be less appreciated over time. So, let's say at this stage, a person might think, you know what? I loved that they cooked for me, but I can cook for myself. I love that they were paying these bills, but I can make money myself. So all of these sorts of things, and you know that cooking and money actually does contribute to the sexual experience between a couple too. So in those things, and there's numerous things, right? Travel can contribute. Um, a connectedness, this presence with each other is again the foundation and the baseline that if that can be maintained and love is maintained with that presence for each other, then things are good. When it's not maintained and when it becomes the better than, and I don't need you because I can do this, and no one needs anyone really, right? There's this whole idea of I choose to be with you is a place of love that's very different. So some people will say, I choose to be in this relationship if this or if that. And that's not such an easy place to be. So that can often lead to a place of transformation where people will say, I can do this myself because this makes me really happy. And sometimes it's acquiring things. You know that many of us know about, I guess, the stereotypical midlife crisis where someone will buy a new sports car to thrill themselves. And literally, it is quite thrilling and it can be quite stimulating for an individual. Sometimes for a couple, we just bought our new car and that they're so excited about it, and you can just feel the excitement about it. Sometimes you buy a new house and it's the same excitement. And then sometimes they've got the car and the house and now they want a cottage. And one person might want it, one person might not. And these are the things that happen in the stage of achievement. When things are done together to get to new goals and achievements together, that's fantastic. When someone says, I don't think I am on the same page as my partner anymore because I'm looking at achievement, which is a little bit of ego, right? Because I'm better than, because I'm looking at achievement. And if they're in that space, oftentimes they will start being on slightly different spaces from each other and not so present with each other's needs. And this is such an important time. It's such an exciting time to achieve things together. And you know, it doesn't have to be together. It could be that one person has a dream of further education and the other person is purely supporting and encouraging it. And that is still an accomplishment that is together. Then there's other accomplishments of day-to-day experience. So it could be someone gets a new job and it's an achievement. And remember, transformation is not easy. So it's going to have good things and not so good things in that, but it's very exciting. And let me tell you, it can be very sexual because when people are feeling more confident about what they're doing, it is a very sexual experience for people. So this meaning that they are truly turned on by the achievements being accomplished. And sometimes it's a person who's actually doing the accomplishing, and sometimes it's a person watching the person who's just enjoying the achievement, and together they can enjoy it. Oftentimes in this time or around this time, people start thinking, I don't need you for this. I can do this. I did all of my studying on my own. I am interested in this. I think this way, and you don't think this way. And then there's judgment, right? So you're lesser than or you're better than. And those sorts of things can change a relationship, of course. And it certainly changes the sexuality. Now, remember that when people are achieving together, even if there's separate things that each is achieving, it's a beautiful space and it's a wonderful, exciting, stimulating space that you can be in too with your partner. And if you're not in a relationship, of course, you can find that you can do this just for yourself by what you are achieving and enjoying the achievements that you're enjoying. If you're in a space that you're not enjoying those achievements, what are they for? Right? So if you're not enjoying, especially in a relationship, enjoying together, being able to be happy for another person's happiness, which then stimulates you. And then they're stimulated because they're so confident about whatever they're achieving. And you are both going to bring that into your sexual experiences. So today, I would like for you to sit for 5 minutes after this video to think about your achievements. Are they individual? Are they shared achievements? Are you celebrating these achievements? Because that will bring more to you. And if you're not, there are people in a situation where they really realize, I just cannot connect with this person anymore. And I want to get to this space, but they want to stay in this space. And, I want them to be at the space that I'm in, which is again stuck in ego phase. But there is truth and honesty there too. Sometimes two people just are not meeting on the same level at the same time. Most of the times, people are not meeting at the same level at the same time. If you can work together to get to that level of whatever achievements are important for you as a couple, fantastic. Or if you can be in a space where you can just purely appreciate what achievements the other person is achieving, then that's great without feeling lesser than, where you're doing this as a we. This is a fantastic experience. And this is now going to translate into whether the bedroom or anywhere else that you are having your sexual experiences about doing things together. This is something new we can try. This is something different we can try. This is something the exact same, but I am so present with you. You're going to feel it like you've never felt this before. So remember, these are the things that people look forward to and should look forward to in the conscious evolution in sexuality. Today, again, sit for 5 minutes to find out what are the things that you are achieving alone or individually. And are you celebrating those achievements? Because this is a wonderful phase to be in. So, this spot, take 5 minutes, make sure you understand. I hope you have a discussion with either yourself or with your partner and transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.